Hey guys, good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a good day so far. Today we are going to be painting Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. I hope you guys enjoy this. I love Starry Night. It's one of my very favorite paintings of Van Gogh's. I just think it's beautiful and I love it. And I hope you guys do too. This is going to be a fun one and you can change it around however you want to do it. But you are going to need your canvas board that I put in your box. You're going to need your paint colors, and the one that has the different blues and the browns and things like that. You're going to need a pencil, so you can use a blue colored pencil if you want to, or you can use just a regular pencil. I think I'm going to use the blue one. And then you're going to need your paint brushes and some water and paper towels just in case you need them to clean up something, okay? So let's get started doing some Starry Night like Vincent van Gogh. Alrighty, so we're gonna start out by just sketching a little bit of what we're gonna see. So we're gonna start with what's the closest first. Now this one's a little dirty, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna be painting over it. But we're gonna start from the front, and that is where you see the cypress tree. So we're just gonna kind of draw the cypress tree in the front. That's the biggest thing, so it's in the front. So we are going to make it the largest. And remember, it doesn't have to look just like his because we don't want to copy his exactly. We're going to do our own version of it, but we're going to make it kind of look like his. It doesn't have to look just like it, but we want it to, you know, we want it to kind of have people know what we're drawing, but it doesn't have to look just like his. So we don't have to draw all the little parts. We're just drawing the outline. And then down here, there's some little circly things. All right. Then we are going to draw what goes back behind there. Now there is a church in the picture. So we're going to draw a church. So we're going to draw the front part. We're going to draw a rectangle. And then we're going to make the part that goes up. Then we're going to make the steeple that goes up. And then the side. And then you can make the doors and stuff. And then down in the front, there's some more houses and things like that in the foreground. So we're going to make a couple of those that go down. And then there's another one that kind of comes in front like this that you would see. And there's some lines on there like this. Just kind of put those in so we don't forget. And then there's lots of other little houses and things back in the background. We're not going to worry about those as much right now. We'll add some of those back in later. But we'll go ahead and put some of the hillside and the big bushes that were closest to him. That's called the foreground. So we'll add some of those in. But for the most part, we're going to focus on the sky because that's the prettiest part. So we're going to make those kind of come down the hillside. And then the hills come from back behind here, like this, and over, and the rolling hills. And there's different layers of color. So you got that one, and then there's another one that kind of comes down and goes behind there. And then you've got another section that's the stars are reflecting off of that. So they go down behind here. Like so. All right, and then up here is where you're going to have the moon. So we're going to put the moon up here. And then you're going to have some more stars that go this way. And then you've got the Starry Night part that swoops around and makes a circle. And then this part comes around and makes a circle. And then you go got all these that come around here. So we're going to put in some of our other stars so we don't forget about them. Okay, so once you've got all of that sketched out, I hope you guys can see that okay, then you all are going to start your painting. So, get this to come up. Uh-oh, I was looking at the picture so I could see what we were doing here. Get that to come back up of my Starry Night picture. I can get my picture to come back up. There we go. That way I can see it. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the green and the brown and the blue, and I have those on my plate as well. So we're going to start with that and go from there. And like I've said before, you can add in other parts. You can make it look different. You can add in pumpkins if you want to. You can make it look however you want to, okay? Now, he used oil paint, which is really, really thick, but we are using, we're using acrylic paint because oil paint has to be cleaned up with turpentine, and we can't do that, especially online. So we're gonna just use our, acrylic paint, which works just as well. So, I've got my tissue, my paper towels. I'm gonna start out with the green. I'm gonna paint my cypress tree in with the green first, and then I'll go back later and add in some brown. But I'm just gonna go over what I painted. With the green first. And then I'll go back in and add in the brown. So Vincent would sit up on this hill and look down at the city, and that's where he painted this. So we're gonna follow the curve of the way that these little bushes were growing. And what we're gonna do is go back in and add some brown for the depth. So then we're going to take our brown, we're going to go over the cypress tree. And you don't want to add water to your paint because you want it to be good and thick like Vincent had. So we're going to put in some layers. we don't want ours to look exactly like him. We don't want to copy him completely, but we're going to make it look like his, just not exactly like his, because we don't want to completely plagiarize his work. We're learning. Well, it's not like we're going to sell these or anything, but we're just trying to figure out how he did things. So he used these little brush strokes, these short, quick brush strokes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in with our brush. This is just the round brush, and we're adding in our thick brush strokes. And we got this part, this is the curves, so we don't want to mess those up. We want to add in our curves where you can see the brush strokes. And we'll go back over that again in a little bit too, to make sure you can still see them. Now, as you go up, you kind of lift up your paintbrush to make the ends feathery. And you might have to go back over it again after you do your sky. Your sky might get into your stuff a little bit. And that's okay, because we can go back over it. It's no big deal. So go ahead and rinse off your brush. Put paper towel up here. It's going to dry it off a little bit. And then I'm going to start filling in my background. So I'm going to need some blue. So I'm going to start out with my dark blue that just came right out of the thing. This one. And I'm going to make some of my background just outlines, so you can really see where I put the background. And then we can go back over it later. So that's the first layer. I'm going to go over this layer. We're going to be using our white like we did last week and the week before. We're going to change our colors around, because you know, if we have white, we can make lighter colors, and if we have black, we can make darker colors. We just don't need to use too much of any of them. So we're going to come down like this. Okay. Oh, I just realized I missed out on part of my tree. Go back and fix that a little bit. Okay. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of my green right here, make it darker. Got some different shades of green going on, and that's a good thing. Because you want your light green and your dark green to kind of show the light reflecting. And there's nothing at all wrong with that. Now, then we've got some green kind of back off in the distance over here beside past the church. So we're going to kind of go over here to the side. Make this off in the distance. We'll go back and add some more brown in later. Make sure that's in the shot. And this one we're going to make kind of curved brush strokes because we want to show that texture that he used with the curves. So that's off back in the back, and then we're going to add just a little bit of yellow in with that just to lighten it up. Just make a lighter green and pull that in. Now we're going to make our brush strokes kind of come down over that. So we're going to use our blue again. And guys, he mixed his colors all together. It's okay if your colors mix, because that's what they're supposed to do. You want them to kind of all mix together. And make some lines that come this way. And don't freak out if it doesn't look exactly like you want it to yet. We're not anywhere close to being finished yet. So we're just going to kind of swoop in our brush. And remember, we don't want ours to look just like his anyway. We want to just use his ideas and make our own version of it. So we got that part. And then we're gonna make our little part back here too. Now what's going to really look good is when we get all this on here and we go back through and make our accent lines. That's going to really make it show up good. So we're going to fill all this in with this blue. Got a little bit of brown mixed in with that, that's okay. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to fill all this in with our blue, and then we're going to go back in and add some more accents to it. Get a little bit of brown to make my lines. Hey, can you give me some white paint? Can you give me some white paint, please? Just any of it. Just some white acrylic paint. Forgot to get my acrylic paint over here, my white. Just a little bottle will be fine. If you can. There's a squirt bottle over there on the top, on the very top over there. If you'll grab that for me, it'd be awesome. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, so in just a minute, I'm gonna add in some white to my blue to make a different shade. Now I believe I gave you guys some different shades of blue, so you can switch back and forth with your different shades of blue. So I'm going to add a little white in with my blue. You guys have got a lighter blue, so you can just use your lighter blue. I'm going to make some lighter blue real quick. Now I'm going to go over some of this in a minute with some yellow because I forgot to do that part. So I'm gonna kind of lighten this up a little bit where we got the light coming down. Add in a little bit of yellow with our blue. We're gonna make some little streaks come through. He had lots of lines that kind of came through. And if you get it too light, you can always lighten it up too. We'll add layers upon layers. So the thing about this is you can always go back and add more. Now with oil paint, that stays wet a lot longer and you can blend longer, but with acrylic, you can go over it for longer periods of time. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. When you get older, you can try different kinds of paint. This, of course, is the kind you probably need to be using right now because you don't want to have the turpentine and stuff. So there's that. So I'll go back in this part. Mix this in. Of course, I'm going to leave this part because I'm going to add in some more little houses and stuff back through here. And this one, I'm going to add in some more little houses, so we'll just leave that part right there. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to paint a bunch of the sky. I'm going to paint it in with some blue, but I'm also going to use a lot of blue with the white because I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm going to start kind of painting it in just with little strokes all around, because I'm going to cover those. I'm going to put some yellow in there too, so that's going to come over it. But I want to build up layers of color. So I'm going to start by coming around here and just making some streaks and follow that curve that I painted a while ago, or that I drew with the pencil. So I'm going in order in the way that I was, just with some of the light blue, because I'm going to build layers of color. Now this is something you could do with the oil pastels also that I gave you before. You remember whenever we had the oil pastels, since he used the oil paint and it was really nice and thick, you could also do with this with your oil pastels and it would look really good. In a minute, I'm going to, of course, switch over to the smaller brush too, because you want to have different widths of your strokes. Okay, so I'm back. I had to grab a different color of the paint. So I got a little bit darker blue. So I'm gonna come over here and just paint in some more little streaks. Because remember, we're building our layers. And this is more of a royal blue, cerulean blue. And you should have that. I'm pretty sure I gave you some of that. Should have taken a picture. But so yeah, so you're gonna have this color and we're gonna blend it in. I'm gonna go along the edge. This is a different color blue, so we're gonna make it just kind of go in. Now, he's got all these little streaks, and I'm gonna go back later and add some in with a smaller brush too, but I just wanted to kind of blend a little bit of this color in. Okay. All right, then I'm going to go back and add some more of the blue into the sky. So I'm going to do this on the edge of my brush, following the lines. Now, I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my skinnier brush. I'm going to put a little bit of water on there because I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm going to just kind of take some of these and I'm going to make long, quick strokes. Put a little bit more paint on there so it's a little bit thicker. It wasn't thick enough, but we're going to fill in all of these strokes and go around. And then we've got this other part that comes around. We're going to put some yellow in that in just a minute. All right, I don't like that brush at all, so I'm going to swap back over to my other one and just use a lighter touch. Okay, I think I'm going to switch over for a minute to a time lapse so that way you all won't have to sit there for so long, okay? I will be there in just a second. Okay, so I got finished. Looks something like this. Not exactly like Starry Night, but I thought that might be a little too difficult for everybody. So I thought we would just do a basic version of it, concentrating on the stars and everything. What you can also do is once it gets dry, you can go back and put another layer over the top and make the paint even thicker. So you can try those sorts of things. You can add in some more houses. You can add in whatever you want to. You could make a scarecrow. You could add in all kinds of different things. So I hope you guys had fun, and we're going to learn some more about Vincent van Gogh. So click on the links that you see, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye.